Over the weekend, we saw the biggest liquidation event in the history of crypto. Bitcoin went down 20%, but XRP went all the way as low as $1.18, lower on some exchanges, higher on other exchanges. But what on earth is going on? What am I doing? And what is the news that you guys...
암호화폐 전체가 폭락했습니다. 8년차 영국 트레이더 코너는 이 사태를 어떻게 해석하고 있을까요? 이를 오히려 기회로 만드는 전략을 세우고 있다는데요. 오늘 영상 집중해서 봐주세요.
My trades were closed. They were stopped out, some were liquidated, but we prevail and we pick ourselves up and we start once again. So if we take a look at the chart, guys, you can see there's a number of different ways you can look at the different formations that we had in the past before we broke out for XRP again. And just look at that candle to the downside. Now, when we reached the lows of this region, you can see it was still in the wick there. I opened this new trade. Now $3,600 of profit. And I'm not here to tell you I got out easily, unscathed. None of that. No. Lots of my trades got closed. Some got liquidated. But we need to use this time and these lessons, right, as lessons and a way for us to build out our strategy to protect ourselves. Now, most of my trades were either stopped out or stayed open. My long-term low leverage strategy, everything but XRP made it through. In fact, Dogecoin and Sui were at a loss, so I added to them when we had a pullback. And guys, I opened new XRP trades and new Dogecoin trade. Now, $19 billion was wiped out from the crypto markets 48 hours ago, all from a bad moment between Trump and China. Now, Trump is telling us today to not worry about China anymore. And this is what's sending the price upwards. And you guys can't write this stuff. Look, we're on track to go up towards our 8-year bull market resistance on Bitcoin. And one of the heaviest hit coins was XRP. But what we have to understand is how market cap and price action work. All right. So XRP, most people who hold it in the spot market, I doubt panic sold it, right? Because maybe they have it in their ledgers or maybe they have it in cold storage and they just sat there and they wait patiently for it to blow over. But this crash was created that we saw here from liquidations, $19 billion of liquidations. So what I did was I waited to see what will happen. And then I saw that the market was scared, but I actually saw that people started to pile in to short positions. So using that data, I opened long positions because I want to go against what the majority are doing in my contrarian trading strategy, guys. So that's what's turned out to be positive so far. Maybe I make profits, maybe I don't, but the most important thing to me is to make sure that when we see profits, we get the stop loss into break even like I just moved directly on the chart. One of the great things about weeks is I can move the stop losses on the chart. And now I have a risk-free trade there with XRP. I also could close out some of the XRP trade if I wanted to make sure that I have profit. And then the Dogecoin trade, I have closed out $1,000 of profit and I got $12,400 and a break-even stop loss. So in a moment of crazy volatility, I want to make sure no matter what, I'm still protecting my downside, right? With that said, Trump's trade war isn't about their trade. It's about resetting America's debt according to bull theory. Basically, what he's saying is Trump's overall plan is to devalue the dollar in order to fix or reduce the $35 trillion debt, not by paying it back, by inflating it away. They raise import prices, inflation rises, and real debt burden sinks. So let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section. But don't forget, currency is a chessboard. China, Europe, and Japan all manipulate exchange rates to keep exports competitive. Trump's tariffs are a counterweight, forcing others to strengthen their currencies or pay higher costs. That again helps weaken the dollar over time, and that is exactly the goal, guys. So I think this has been overall his plan all along. And if you do take a look, if I have the DXY still open, here we go, moving the dollar price down, right, coincides with price increases in risk on assets like the S&P 500. So even though we had this big push to the downside, it's actually not all bad because this is where Trump got in around this area. Yes, we had this big push to the downside, massive opportunity, and now we are significantly higher, especially if you got in here or you were dollar cost averaging. So depending on how you feel about XRP, it could just be simply a massive accumulation zone zone that we had over the weekend. Rather than the panic that everyone else saw it as, it might have been the opportunity. So that's what I'm seeing in the market. As you know, I still think we're in a bull market. We're above the 200 MA, but Bitcoin is also above 215,000 and we are in extreme fear. Extreme fear, and Bitcoin is above 100K. That makes me bullish because I like to do the opposite of what the majority of people do in this market, because the majority of people lose money. So that's what I'm seeing in the market, guys. New XRP trade open, waiting for the upside, and I've protected my downside by having a stop loss. Let me know what you think about that down there in the comment section. With all of that, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.